Alright, today I'm going to show you how to make a area terrain marker. The supplies that you will need for this project is some backer board. This actually is a 1/4 inch thick. It comes from Lowe's in a 4x8 sheet for about 12 bucks. You're going to need a permanent marker, black preferably. You're going to need a jigsaw. You're going to need a sanding block. You're going to need some PVA glue and water and an old brush. You're also going to need some flock. I use green flock because most of my basing is green, and this stuff's really easy to work with. Alright, using my jigsaw, I've cut a piece of this backer board into about a 4x6 sheet. Using my marker, I have drawn a rough outline of what I would like to make. Using my jigsaw, I cut out the shape that I had drawn on the backer board, and I beveled the edge with a 45 degree. Using my sanding block, I'm going to sand down the edge to make it nice and smooth and make sure I get off all these little burrs around here. And I'm not too worried about getting all the fine pin marks out of it because that's going to be covered up. Alright, I've sanded it down, and then I applied a base coat of green paint, and because it matches my flock. And if any of the terrain is not covered by the flock, it will be covered by the green paint. Once again, I've sanded it down. I've covered it with green paint on both sides. Now you want to make sure you do that step. Get both sides of this covered in paint because that seals it and it will prevent it from warping. You don't want to go through all this work and have it done and then warp because of the weather and the moisture. So you want to make sure you seal the wood, and you seal the wood by coating it with a paint on both sides. Alright, using watered down PVA glue, I used this much water and probably about half as much glue in there. I stirred it up really good. Using an old brush, I coated this completely. And then using my green flock, I've flocked it. I've set that aside. It's now dry. And now that it's dry, I'm going to go through and use a matte spray coat on top of it so that this flock won't peel up. And other than that, that's done. It looks good on the tabletop. Alright, my area terrain marker is finished. This area terrain represents a forest. You can see that it works really well with my miniatures, and it represents the terrain feature very well. I am using modular trees. They're individually based so that I can remove them from the terrain so that I can move my miniatures through there. Just remember that the area terrain is represented by the marker, not the actual trees in there. So therefore, this marker can represent a tree line, and I can have my modular trees on there, and in the event that I need to move my models through there or to check for line of sight and that tree's in the way, I can just move it out of the way. There you go. There's my terrain feature, and it works really well, and it looks pretty good on the battlefield.